Well, this should be kind of a duh, but I've always wanted to see if you can ground a G3X through a separate connector than you bring power in on, to see if the grounds on the other side of the connector are for that connector only, or if they are a true, which would make no sense at all, or if they are a true system ground. So before I slap this last one in here, I've always wanted to try this. We're just going to do it real quick. So I'm going to put in aircraft power 1 into this connector, but we'll put the ground in this connector, and we'll see what happens. Okay. All right, ground it out first. Bingo. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my 2 power sources into separate connectors. I'll bring in primary into this one, backup power will come into this one, rather than the G3X is pretty unique in that you can take backup power, aircraft power 1 and 2 into this connector, or you can choose optionally, if it works out better and maybe you want to keep it separate from your CAN bus, to bring it into this one. So, in the unlikely and highly possible event of something that should never happen, like one of these connectors comes unplugged, each one has a full power source. So this will have power and grounds from one source, this will have power and grounds from another source, and together you have 2 power and grounds. But should one ever become connected, you'll notice, because you could lose your CAN bus, but you'll still have your RS-232 backups, and it'll still have power. I have seen it to where someone didn't screw the plug in, it just got set in there. In fact, that happens quite a lot. I saw it happen with a guy just last week on a 182. And so, should that ever happen, in this case, you would of course be aware of it, but nothing would stop. You wouldn't fall out of the sky. You would still, you know, your GDU would have power. It would still be able to see where it's going, because I'm going to split, you know, you typically will split your 232 backups between these two anyway. So you'll still have your ADAHRs with this. If you lost this one, you'd still have your CAN bus, so you'd still have your ADAHRs with that as well. And so that's the idea. Just little things that most people probably don't think about. But ever since I had that happen, I've always wondered, you know, rather than, yeah, split your power distribution between the 2 plugs. I wonder if they did that on purpose. I don't know, but it works. So that's what we're going to do.